righty, we're going to get started. Good morning, everybody. All right.
I couldn't hear you.
We're going to go ahead and get started. All right. Well, welcome, everybody, to the weekly team meeting. We are going to start off. I'm subbing in for Johnny today. I'm Eric Offham. A lot of you know who I am. So we're going to start off with tell me something good. So who has something good to share with the group? If you do, just raise your hand. Who's got something good? All right.
I'll go. We closed 3 college to pay first-time home buyers last month. And even though it's triple the work, they're so cute. It's like so touchy how much it means to them and how life-changing it is. And then when they send you cute pictures, like asking them now they should send me their selfies. I'm like, okay, I'm cherishing these forever because this looks on their face. And so first-time home buyers have been reaching out like crazy. And it's exciting. So, so 2 of them, or 2 or 3 of them, there's 3 of them. So it's fun. But yeah, I'm pulling it up.
All right. Who else would like to share something good? Yes.
I'm starting to see, because I work FISBOs and expires a lot.
Okay.
And I'm starting to get a lot of returns from FISBOs.
Okay.
They're starting to reach back out to me. And I've got a listing appointment set for Saturday. The guy originally wanted to do a cash deal buyout, but he decided, he called me yesterday and said, because I was supposed to go this afternoon for the listing appointment. And he talked to him, and anyhow, he reached back to me and he said, no, I said, I won't put it on the market. I want you to list it for me. And so I'm going Saturday to do the listing with him. And I've got another one in Sun City that I reached out to on a FISBO. And he's renting his house. His mom, dad, he's renting the house in the plus 55 community. He's renting it for another month out. And then he wants me to list it for him. So I'm starting to see FISBOs are reaching back. I think the market's changing on them. And they're starting to come back to us and say, well, you guys think you could sell my house for me?
Yeah. A little tougher nowadays.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
So that's not something good.
Excellent. Let's give him a hand. Great job. Who else? Who's got a victory to share? Yes.
Yeah, we actually it's going to go on the market on the 15th, and it's in a very exclusive area that very seldom property come on the market in a golf club. It's Residential Golf Club by Granite State Golf Course, and it's just a shy under 1.7 million, and beautiful place. And so we're staging it. We'll have all the videography and all that stuff done next week. That's why we're putting on the market on the 15th. But you have anybody in that area? I mean, it's I don't think there's been a house on the market in 2 years there. So, or if it is, we don't hear about it. It's residences that sell among themselves. So
Yeah.
It's my mentor in business for over 40 years. So, really good guy. The family.
Excellent. Let's give him a hand. Great job. Anybody else? You got a victory?
I apologize if I came in at the wrong moment, but I have a new listing coming up. Is this the time for that?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So this is in Newcastle on top of a hill. It's 1,000 feet up. It's a 2,000 square foot house, hot tub, soar with the eagles while you sit in your hot tub. It's pretty nice. We're listing at 890,000. Taking pictures today. If you guys want to get somebody out early, it won't be live for a little bit. Just let me know. And a great little place. But it is on top of a hill. It is beautiful, 270-degree view. You can see Mount Diablo and the Sierras all on one porch.
Awesome.
About 2,000 square feet. It does have a basement room underneath that you could probably put another 1,000 square feet down there.
Awesome. Let's give Barry a hand. Great job. Anybody else want to share a victory? All right. Time for our lender update.
Yay! So guys, rates have been swinging back and forth. And what was great this morning is, because I am using the college a lot right now, but it went down to 4.875, which is really good, and that's with the 10% grant. Or you can do it up to 200,000 with just to buy a home. But the point of even using that program, and it is only first-time home buyers, is it pays the points for the client, so they're not paying out of pocket if you're not having to ask to sell it for it. But the rate is so much lower than the market rate that it's giving them much lower payments. So I'm using it like crazy. The other thing I want to share with you guys that I'm going to mention is a lot. Builders are desperate. They are so damn desperate to sell houses right now. They're giving away the moon, they're dropping prices, they're giving incentives, and they're calling me like crazy because we get call outs, they get cans. So they're doing some awesome deals. Like JNC alone has 16 standing inventory, and that has been that way so many years, right? So what I'm doing with my clients is I'm getting a lot of these calls of people who throw out holes and now all of a sudden they're back. But I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. You called me at the perfect timing. It just switched in the last 2 weeks back to a buyer's market. I'm really stressing that to them. I see the HUD foreclosures. One just popped up 5 acres in Grass Valley for $300,000. So yes, there's work to be done, but with those type of loans, we get to finance the repairs. But just seeing that once, I'm like using it on every single conversation with the client. It's like, oh man, this market's so exciting. It's the best time. I'm so glad you called right now. And especially because rates, they went down like over 0.25% just since Friday to yesterday. That's a huge jump. But that's what I'm seeing. Rates are doing this big time. And I keep explaining that to the client. I'm like, hey, just because it's 5.5 today, tomorrow it'll be 4.8. Don't let the rate deter you because it's moving this rapidly. And they're going to do that to let people back in the market and then shut the faucet off. Then turn it back on and then shut the faucet off. And that's what they're going to do gradually. So I think you guys use it to your advantage. Call everybody today and say, hey, rates went down 0.25%. Isn't that exciting? And just that phone call, they're like, wait, what? Right at the end of the tunnel, I'm so excited. So use that little tidbits and news to your advantage because it's a great reason to call and get people fired up. But yeah, the deals I'm seeing right now are off the hook. So $50,000 drop.
Quick question for you.
Drops.
Do you think that on and off, is that the lenders controlling their volume so that because of their employee staffing, or is that the
So
market
there's
actually going up and down?
many reasons that the rates change. I mean, it's insane. So I follow daily rate lock advisory, and it tells you like, here are the 3 reports coming out today, 9 a.m., 11, and 1 o'clock, and then you Google it. And so then when you're talking to your client, you feel very knowledgeable, like, hey, here's the pricing index came out this morning, and here's what happened. Here's what it did to rates. But that website shares with you, today's rates got better by 0.25%, they got worse by 8%, whatever it is. And sometimes it'll have like a midday change, but it'll also tell you anything happening the rest of the week and why it's happening. So if you go on that website today, it says rates are going to get better in 20 days from now. So, will they go up first before they go down? Maybe. So I just tell clients like, hey, they could go up before they go down. But the point is, this is what's going to happen. And so be prepared for that. Don't let the rate be a driving factor for your decision. Because what comes up must come down right now, which is good. And we are going to keep letting people in the market a little at a time. And so it's a control of appreciation. They're really keeping it under, the goal is 5% per year. We already are at 5% year to date. So even if we grew nothing the rest of the year, that would be a healthy appreciation for the year of 5%. So I have a feeling like we're going to see a lot of stability through the rest of this year, but that's a good thing. And it's also good at this weekend because they make emotional decisions, and that's when opportunities are done, right? So I just suggest to play on that because anytime rates have gone down lately, I get a ton of calls that day, and that's what's happening right now. People are calling us back, so pretty exciting.
Excellent. Is there anything else you want to share?
Next week, I guess we'll go through it. I did a class and a few Monty attended, Michael attended, but I'm excited to share with you guys scripts that I have for the entire process of the transaction, but also to get deals and to make cold calls, whether it's chasing builders, chasing business partners, and just building your database. So this is a packet, it's 9 different scripts that I want to provide to you guys. So it sounds like I'm going to get to go over it with you next week.
Awesome. Let's give her a hand. Thank you for sharing. Rodney?
Yeah, Rodney Rose with Mortgage Capital. Like Alicia was saying, the market is super volatile. Make sure you're staying in close touch with your lenders. 2 large lenders went out of business, one yesterday and one last week. That means your deals, if you're with one of them, are not probably going to close, right? So the market's really volatile, and we're going to see a little more of that before we settle down. One other thing I wanted to bring up is I have a new product that's really perfect for the market right now. People that have the 2s and 3s on their interest rates aren't real excited about getting rid of them. And to free up some money to do an investment or something else, I have a fixed second loan. It's called a E-loan, and the rates start around 7, they go up to 90% LTV. Easy, quick qualifying process. So that can either help with the buy down or maybe avoid mortgage insurance. You can stack it with the new first. Lots of different ways to use that. So that's a new product. Usually you're going to get a home equity line of credit. Those are variable rates. This is a fixed rate. It goes up to 90%. Depends on the LTV with the FICO, for the rate. So some new products on that. But really watch the market. It is very volatile, and you're going to start seeing some people going out of business. So just a heads up on that.
So 2 questions. One, which of the 2 companies went out of business? Or is that not for disclosure?
Yeah, Sprout Mortgage was one yesterday.
Sprout Mortgage?
Yeah, and First Guarantee. Those are both large lenders. So they're more on the wholesale side, but some of them have retail. So it's kind of what the sign of the times.
Like 50%.
Yeah.
One more question about the existing deal. I understand they might not go through, but if another company picks up those deals, will the deals go through?
Well, it's, depends, because you have a rate lock. Maybe they were locked at a lower rate than it's available today. You got appraisal issues, you got documentation transfers. Likely, yeah, you'll be able to get something closed, but there's those risks, and it's going to be a process. It's definitely going to be a delay. So just a heads up there. If you get any weird vibe, you might want to probe into that a little bit more.
All right, let's give Rodney a hand. Thank you.
Next is upcoming events. We have one event coming up here on the screen, July 21st, Become a Luxury Specialist. That's not at PCAR, it's at the Granite Bay Country Club, and then the time normally I think is 10 to noon. This one's 10 to 2. 10 to 2. What was that?
It actually is 10 to 2.
Yeah, 2 hours. I wanted to go through more stuff than just 2 hours. If you know his class, he does like a whole weekend of these things. He's gonna condense it, kind of give it to you. You don't get the certification, but he's gonna fill your head with how it works. So highly recommend it.
So one quick tip
And it's free. That's free.
for those of you that want to do agent attraction, it takes 2 minutes to send a text or a Facebook message or an email to invite an agent to this event. So if it takes you 2 minutes and you invite 5 agents a day, how much time is that a day? 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day. So you gamify it, and you set a goal. I'm going to invite 5 agents a day every day between now and the event, which is the 21st, which is however many days that is, 14 days. And that will get you several guests to the event, and then put them in your pipeline and help you build your business. All right. We now have a very special guest speaker. Christa Proctor is here, and she is going to share some incredible information with you.
All right. So good to be here with all of you guys. I was telling Eric today, I think it's been a while since I've been here because I hardly recognize anybody in this room. It's amazing. That's so great. So we have so many people, just joining the family, the Brent Go family. I always told Brent, I just want to always be in your vortex, right? Can you guys kind of relate to that? So I started in real estate in 2013, and Brent was my, team leader, my mentor, he taught me everything. He taught me my first open houses. He showed me how to set up signs. When nobody was coming to the open house, he's like, stand here. I'm going to go check the signs and make sure nobody took them. So he's just an amazing mentor, and I'm really happy to be, thanks. Thanks, Rob. Should I move out of the way or? Either one. Okay. It's hard for me to not stand in the center. I felt crooked over here. So anyway, Brent asked if I would talk about how to conduct a buyer workshop. So I was like, okay, I can't just say buyer workshop. Let's give it a Brent Go. How to conduct a killer, extraordinary, amazing, over the top, smashing it buyer workshop. That's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. So I think right now with everything we're hearing today, there's always opportunity whenever there's uncertainty. And it's how we are seeing it, right? And so I love Alicia's attitude. Like anytime you hear Alicia talk, she's always going after what the opportunity is. And I think it's just a skill that we all develop over time. And if we don't have it, we need to, definitely being in this meeting, you're in the right place because you're going to get that, you're going to hear that. So the buyer workshop, I think it's going to, do a couple things. First of all, everybody in your sphere of influence, even if you don't feel like an expert, you're a realtor, you're a real estate professional, they assume you're an expert in the market. And so it's okay if you don't feel like an expert. You have what it takes. You already have everything you need inside of you right now today to present an amazing workshop and show hope and leadership. And I think that's the two things that people need right now. They need hope and they need leadership. And so that doesn't matter if you're in a deal and maybe the lender just went out of business on your buyer. Okay, you're going to provide hope and you're going to provide leadership. And how are you going to do that? It's through the relationships you have. And you have just sitting in this room, looking around the room, you literally have everything you need to do all of this that we're going to talk about today. So, there's that saying, like, what is your why? Have you guys, right? I remember when I first heard that question, I was living in survival mode. And I was like, what's my why? Honestly, I just want to buy my kids more than a McDonald's ice cream and have it be, So I didn't really figure out my why, but then later I realized, oh, well, my why was because I wanted a better life for my kids, right? But I was in such survival mode, I couldn't even put words to that. So I don't know where you're at today with your why. I don't even know that it matters that you always know your why, but I know that this is what matters. You need to know the why of your client. You need to understand what's their reason, what's their motivation. Are they interested in buying a home? Why is that? Are they interested in selling? Why exactly is that? Because if you don't know exactly why they want to do what they're doing, you'll never be able to help them across the finish line when things get a little bit tense or, so you need to understand what is it they want. If you help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you want. You won't even have to think about it. It will just happen automatically. So there are so many workshops you could do for buyers, all right? And I've listed a few right here. So you've got first-time home buyers, you've got move-up buyers, buyers who they've owned for a while, but they're like, wait, we have our rate locked in at 2% now, but we need a bigger house. How in the world are we going to afford that? We have twins on the way. We're living in a 3-bedroom house. We already have 2 kids, or mom and dad need to move in with us, whatever. There's always going to be people that have to move. Right. So the market's always moving. It's just, are we positioned to help people through that? So if they're locked in at this rate, well, okay, you know what? My lender, Rodney, he can come help do a workshop on how do you move up without risking your interest rate and sacrificing your interest. There's so many things you could do. Move up buyers, you could do investor workshop. What about downsizers? How many boomers do you know right now that need to get rid of not just their house that's 4,000 square feet that no one's living in, but also all the crap they have in it, right? So people feel so stuck. I'm working with 3 seniors right now that literally don't know what they're going to do with their stuff. And that alone can make them stuck. All right. So downsizers, estate planning. What about people? How many probate deals have you encountered? I've done some probate deals. So people need help and they don't realize what probate is, how it affects them, how it affects their family. Veterans, home buying workshops, first responders. There's special loan programs for first responders. So what connections do you have? Who do you know? And start thinking about those veins. Okay, hearing you talk today, I was like, you could do a seller's workshop for people who want to do for sale by owner. Help them know what some good practices are. And by the time you're done telling them everything it takes to get top market, top dollar for their house, they're going to say, okay, can I just hire you? So what is why are you doing it? Because you don't want to just do a random home buyer workshop. You won't have the content you need, you won't have the team you need, you want to know what is it you're saying, who are you talking to? So then gather your team of experts, all right? You do not have to know anything at all. You could be a brand new licensed agent, never have sold a house before, and do an amazing home buyer workshop. It's who do you know? You know, you just be the host, you be nice, and we'll talk about how to do that later, how to set a good environment, but you just make it happen, and you be the inviter and the promoter, and then, you know, just set a leash up there and just add water and boom, let her go. As an example, I'm just saying. So, you know, so who's your lender? You know, get with your lender, find out, hey, what are some great programs right now? What are you seeing out there? What about an estate attorney? Because those attorneys are looking for agents that they know are going to be consistently there, and maybe after that workshop, they might feed you some leads if they see, oh, wow, they have their, you know, poop in a group. That's what Cindy says all the time. They got a team. So what about a property manager? If you want to do an investor workshop, who's your favorite property manager? And that property manager can do a talk about how do you identify a good candidate? What makes it a good candidate? How do you analyze a property that you might want to buy? You might not know any of this stuff, but you'll get to learn right along with your clients. A tax specialist. Have you ever done a 1031 exchange? If you don't know what that is, write it down, look it up. You need to understand that there are people who buy and sell properties, and they're investors, and they're not even really fully aware of how all that works. All they know is they want to avoid taxes as much as possible. So hire a guest speaker on flipping. If you don't know a flipper who's willing to partner with, just pay somebody, you know, pay them, ask them, hey, how much would you charge to come speak to a group of people? And then, so come up with a provocative name for the event. Who's the master of that? Brent is the master about that. All right, so I have some examples, and I took the liberty of just, let's see, how do
you want this back on?
Yeah, and I don't know, what do I do here? Just push it forward?
Should be.
Right click?
Yep.
I have no idea what to do. I clicked it, but yeah.
Down there.
All right, here we go. Here's John and Valerie. Oh, wait, go back. Okay. How to optimize real estate to reduce taxes. I could have said like wipe out taxes. That's what probably Brent would do. But anyway, so you know, there's an example. Yeah, exactly. So go ahead, the next one. That says first, you can't see it behind the first responder, real estate workshop, fantastic home buying deals. So the next one. Veterans real estate workshop, VA loan specialist on site. Okay, so go ahead, next. How to get the deal of a lifetime, you know, so you can even put, there's certain programs where you could say how to buy a home with zero money out of pocket. That's a real thing, right? So next.
I think that's
okay,
all we had.
Those are just some examples, right? And so you don't want to just do to make it too general. You want to be a little more specific so you know who you're inviting. All right, so set a simple agenda. All right, meetings do not make themselves happen. Right? You don't just throw out an invitation and let a couple people know and then, oh wow, people show up. That is not what happens. Chairs don't set themselves up. Music and environment doesn't make itself happen. So you want to think about everything, be very intentional. Go look at a few rooms. You know, if you're partnering with a lender, they might have a really cool boardroom or something, or educational room that you could use. And so go check it out. You know, make sure it looks good. Is there boxes full of papers all over the floor? Don't use that room. You know, find something that looks clean, professional, organized, orderly. Does it have audio visual equipment? Is there speaker system so that you can play music? If not, have a really nice Bluetooth, not a cheap $25 model from TJ Maxx that you got or Target, right? Like get a nice Bluetooth system that sounds good so you can have music playing. What about, so let me go through a simple agenda and then I'll talk about a few other things on setting the environment. So here's just a simple sample agenda that you could do. So easy. First 10 minutes, just meet and greet. Let's say it starts at, 6:30 p.m. So it's 6:30 to 8 p.m. 6:30, people are warming up. Maybe they're still getting there off work. Maybe you have a few things for them to eat, like buy something simple they can snack, because when people are holding something in their hand, it's easier for them to talk. Have some coffee there. It's easy to get a traveler thing from Starbucks. I mean, this is not rocket science, but these things it's the details that make a difference, and that it lets people know that they're important and you prepared for them. And it makes you look even more professional, like you're really on your game. So have a meet and greet for a few minutes. You probably won't start right on time because you want people to get there then, but don't start too late. Like have a time that you are starting because you want to respect people's time that did come. So then you're the one to welcome up, to welcome and open up, and you just welcome everyone there, say how glad you are that they're there. Tell some sort of inspirational story. You need a moment of inspiration. You need to, even what I said earlier could be enough. You could say, you know what, today, a lot of people are really nervous about this market, but I'm here to tell you there is so much opportunity in this market. There's so much hope, and we're going to provide you tonight with some amazing options and some how-to that can help you build wealth for not just yourself, but your children and grandchildren. Does that inspire anybody? Yeah. It's very inspiring. Who would like to work with me? No, I'm kidding. So just be sincere. And why are we doing what we're doing? Either we believe in what we're doing or we don't. I believe that we do need people to own homes, because if we don't, all of real estate is going to be owned by corporations. That's not going to be a pretty picture in society. So we need to help people really build generational wealth. So this is a really great thing that we're doing, and we're on a mission to actually put wealth and ownership into the hands of the individuals. So, welcome, moment of inspiration. If you're working with veterans, maybe you have a veteran that maybe you didn't even help them, because if you're brand new, maybe you haven't sold a house yet, but maybe you have a friend that helped a veteran get into a home. And you could say, hey, would your client be willing to do like a little short interview? They could do a 3-minute testimonial on video about how the process was and how great it was, and that they own a home now, and show that. And then there's a bunch of other veterans in the room that maybe they have or haven't, bought a home. Whatever it is you're doing, you could have a testimonial and then make it brief, 3 minutes. A 3-minute video is actually very long. You might want a 2-minute video. So then this is just an example, right? Then maybe just have a little 10-minute market update. You could do that yourself, or you could partner with a fellow agent that's maybe, if you're not confident, maybe they're more confident to just do a little 10-minute market update. Now, do you have to make up that content yourself? No. Who did we just have here? What was it, last week? Ryan Lundquist. Thank you, Ryan. Why would we ever have to reinvent anything, right? So just take some of his slides, give him the credit. You look like an expert. You are following the market. And so then you do the how-to portion. So whoever's doing the how-to portion, it could be your lender, it could be the estate planner, it could be the tax specialist, it could be you. If you're doing how to write a winning offer, in Brent Gove's book, have you guys read Momentum? If you haven't read that, that should be like your real estate Bible when you're a real estate agent. So how to write a winning offer, you do that, and you have your little chart. And so you could how to buy a home with 0 out of pocket, how to find a flip, so it's your how-to, right? And these are literally going to be the steps that you're going to walk them through if they want to move forward in the pursuit of this venture. And so you're going to give them all the information. Then at the end, you're gonna just thank them for coming. Hey, we're all here to talk with you, and have a call to action. You could have, you know, a little survey at the end. Could you please do us a favor? Before we dismiss, we're just gonna hand out this 2-minute or whatever, 30-second survey. It has 3 questions on it. Was this of value? Is there, I would like more information on, and whatever it is, and then you know they want to follow up, okay? And then you're all around and they could stay in. So the environment is key. You need a good vibe in the room. It needs to be easy to find. How many office buildings have you shown up to and you're like, where do I go?
Yeah.
Don't assume they can find the address and the suite number, you know, and some office buildings lock after a certain time. So I've done workshops before where it was like 3rd floor. It was a beautiful lender conference room. It was a really cool room, but the doors locked. So we had a greeter downstairs outside the door because it was in the evening. And then we had directional signs all the way to the elevator upstairs. Go here, go here. So make it like you have actually given this some thought. You've prepared for it. And what does that say about how you do business? They're like automatically they're getting the message that you know what you're doing. And so then let's see, welcoming with greeters, have some music. What you do with the music is you don't have it blaring at first. If it's like a few people gathering, you kind of have it quieter. Then if more and more people get in the room, you can turn it up a little bit. So, you know, what about the lighting and the sound? Don't assume you're going to run all of that yourself. Even if there's like less than 10 people at this workshop, that's a lot. You need one person dedicated. I mean, hire your teenager, whoever you can get to make sure that that doesn't go badly. And then practice your setup. Don't let your setup be when you get there for the first time. Go the day before, a few hours before practice, because you might find out you have the wrong cord and you got to go to Best Buy and get it or whatever it is. So just be prepared. And then what you want to do is stack the deck in your favor, okay, for this whole event to go well. So first, don't do this by yourself. I mean, you're doing all this work. Why not partner with some other agents, do it together, and who they invite is their lead. Who you invite is your client. But if you do it together, there's a lot more momentum around it, because you might invite 25 people and 5 can make it. Maybe 10 RSVP, but then the day of 5 of them decide that, I'm gonna skip it, you know? So you have 5. That's actually a great turnout. It's not bad. But if you partner with 2 or 3 other agents, you now have 4 guaranteed if there's 4 of you. So there's 4 of you in the room guaranteed, plus your 5. That, oh my gosh, now we've doubled the attendance. And then if they each have 2 or 3, oh my word, you have like almost 20 people. That's a really good crowd. Wouldn't you think that there's better momentum? And then also, not to mention your lender who's there, maybe you have a, you know, whatever you're doing, a property manager. So you're stacking the deck in your favor, okay? And then the other thing is that third-party validation psychologically is so important. Now when they come, they see, whoa, this is like bigger than Barry right here. Like, whoa, Barry's got like a whole group he's connected with, you know, and so it just legitimizes you even more. The other thing is invite other professionals. Maybe they're not even in the real estate industry. Do you know, I mean, a tax advisor who just wants to add value to his clients? Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Tax Advisor, I am offering this workshop. Do you have any clients that you feel like if you offered this to them, I could give you, you know, 10 tickets. Would that be enough? Do you have 10 clients that you'd want to add value to? Now they don't know it's free. Do they have to know it's free? Oh my gosh, I have 10 tickets. Do you want one? That's all it takes. Hey, I have 5 tickets to this event and I'd love to sponsor you. And if you give that to your, you know, tax professional or whoever it is you're working with, maybe an insurance agent, you know, use your business to business peers and create some momentum around it together. And then they'll appreciate, wow, okay, you're doing all this work for something I can add value to my clients. That's just going to elevate them too. The other thing you could do is, this whole, like the aging situation, the aging population, that is a real serious like need right now. There are people who do placement for homes for like assisted living and other things like that. Partner with somebody like that and just say, hey, do you have any families that you're working with that are trying to figure out what in the world do I do with mom or dad's house? What do we do with their stuff? It's not even the house, but the stuff, or maybe the house is like in such disrepair. They might not realize that you have contacts, you have investors that will literally come in at no cost to that family, take everything, and they just walk away with the items they want to keep, and then everything else is done. And you represent that investor, and then maybe you could represent them on the listing as well once they do it all. So you can get creative. Let's see. All right. So allow others to leverage the same workshop you're doing, and it will be a win-win. You'll be so glad. Make a list of twice as many people as you hope to have in attendance. Like I would say no less than 25 people. Like you should probably invite 50 people if you want 20 people there. Probably 100 people. So just realize, and what are you going to do? You're not going to email them only. You can email them, great. You can send them a printed mail. Printed mail actually still works, just so you know, it's very effective. And you could text them the flyer, email them the flyer, but you need to personally call them. You need to pick up the phone. You need to talk to them, let them hear your voice. If they don't pick up, leave them a voicemail, send them a video of yourself inviting them, and then follow up with the flyer. Hey, we talked about last year, Crystal, I know that you were thinking about wanting to jump into the investment market, but you thought maybe now that wasn't the time. Hey, now might be the time. You won't believe the deals that we're seeing out there. So I'm doing that investor workshop coming up. I thought about you. So, whatever, like make it sincere, but let it be an actual invitation. And then send reminder texts the day before to the people who have RSVP and the day of, because just things happen and people forget. And then after the event, follow up. Follow up. That's your pipeline. That's your database. And just if they don't make a move right then immediately, that's okay. The goal that you want to be like, see yourself as a business owner, not as just transactional only. You're creating a database of clients that are going to look to you for their whole life long as the expert. So if they don't make a move with you right now, if you stay in touch, over time, I remember saying this before when I was in here last time, for every 100 properly nurtured people in your database, you'll get about 14 deals per year. So you use this to grow your database, grow your follow up. And if they're not making a move on this particular thing you just did, you keep them in your mailing list, keep them in your email list, send them a text every now and then, make sure you're connecting with them on social media, you're touching them, and then they're going to be a client for life. So I hope that is of help to you guys. And
That was absolutely fantastic. And I want to speak just a little bit to what you shared, because this is in my wheelhouse. So I've been in the events industry for many, many years, several decades, and I want to plant a couple seeds and piggyback on what she was sharing. And I'm assuming that in doing these events, it's brought you a significant amount of business over time. Is that true to say?
well, it's got to be a compound effect, right? Over time, yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily like directly she did the event, turned into a transaction, but it's the long game.
Yeah.
Right. And this can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional commissions to you. So one concept to have you consider is you can do what she just shared in addition to in the workshop, you could do it on Zoom. So we're on Zoom right now. And Zoom lets you record. So I did a class last week, how to make the next 6 months your best 6 months ever. This is a clickable link that I can send over Facebook, I can email it, I can text it. So what I could do is I could go to somebody and say, hey, because I'm in the training industry, you guys are in real estate, I could say to somebody, that July just started, it's the second half of the year, would you be interested in this webinar that I just taught? And if they say yes, I'm going to send them this link. If they watch the webinar, they're going to become more familiar with me. So for you doing the for sale by owner, if you did, say, a 25-minute Zoom that you recorded like this, and you're prospecting these for sale by owners, and you say, I recently did a class for people that want to do for sale by owner to help them to be more successful. Would you be interested in that class? If he prospected that class, the recording of it, you think some for sale by owners might be interested?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so check this out. He does that, let's say you record it today, hypothetically. A year from now, he could still market the class.
Right,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, and to what Christa was saying, you want to become the real estate solution for life. And it's different than transactional. And so what the conversation oftentimes in rooms like this is around how do you write the contract? How do you get the 6% commission? How do you do an open house? All the how to be successful as a real estate agent, which is awesome. This though is a different conversation. Being the real estate solution for life, it's a different conversation, because what you're doing, what she's talking about, it's the way that I sell, and it's selling by education. So for me in the coaching business, I don't look for coaching clients. I look for people that are interested in learning how to make more sales. It's a different conversation. So I'm attracting people to me that are interested in that conversation, and that I become the obvious choice. So while you're doing all the traditional prospecting that you're doing, you can sell by education. If you look at Brent's strategy for agent attraction, what is his strategy? It's education. It's events. The event that's coming up, the how to become a luxury agent. If you look at the strategy behind that, the whole strategy is to become the top provider of real estate education for the region. If you really look at what Brent's doing, he's positioning EXP, Brent Gove, and you guys as we're the place you come to for education. So now they're getting more education from all the vision that Brent has from their own broker. But you can do this on your level. So there's a lot that can be done here. So one seed to plant for you guys. How many of you like what Christa was sharing about that as possibility? Okay. You might be sitting in the room going, that's awesome. How do I execute on that? What would that actually look like? Because there's a lot of moving parts, and it's a whole different thing than being a professional real estate agent, which is what you've been trained on for the last 10, 20, 30 years. So if any of you would like a half an hour with me on the house to have a conversation about how would I actually execute on that, then just reach out to me. Probably have my contact info. If you don't, just put it up here on the screen here. Just shoot me a text, and I'll meet with you over phone, Zoom, or we can meet in person because I'm local. Put that in the Zoom chat. This is my cell phone. I'll give you one session with me on the house. You can ask me anything you want about how to actually execute on what Christa was sharing, because that was some brilliant content, and you might be like, what would be the first step? I'm going to say one last thing, and then we'll wrap the meeting unless anybody has a question. If you think about the long-term implication of that strategy. So some of you know Levi out of Texas with the YouTube channel. Okay. That's a strategy kind of like what Christa was talking about. So you don't just, if you were to build a YouTube channel, it's not just, I'm just going to roll out of bed and do a YouTube channel. That's like a commitment to learning a whole new thing in your business. Yeah. Right? But Levi, he's really focused on it. He's making a ton of money with the YouTube channel. So does that mean that everybody should be doing a YouTube channel? Well, probably not everybody, but maybe you go, I'm gonna plant my flag and really learn the YouTube game. So with what Christa was sharing, you might think about, do you want to plant your flag and really learn, how do I do these events? It's probably a 12-month process. Not that it takes 12 months to do an event, but to really learn it and just thinking like, does that resonate with me? Now, if you did that, this conversation, if you made that decision, it's probably an extra $1 million to you between now and the end of your career. Because when you're doing the events, you want all those people registering to go into your database. And you want to be drip marketing on all those people through email, possibly direct mail, text, social media. And so you go to your database whenever you're doing these events, and it's just one more reason to reach out to them. And now you're being positioned as the expert. When you really look at what Brent's doing, you'll see this, like, why did he write a book? Okay, positions him as an expert. And this is the last thing I'll say unless anybody has a question, is I teach people how to write a thin little book to get published on Amazon. So you're now an author. So when somebody Googles you, you're now a published author. And so these little thin books, I teach you how to write it in a day. And I'm actually teaching a class at the end of this month that it's a paid class, but I'll let you guys come for free. So it's over Zoom and you actually write a book in one day. Doesn't even sound believable, but I've gotten a lot of people to the finish line on that are published authors. So if any of you are interested in that, just shoot me a text. Hey, I want to do that class with you. If you can't make it live, I forget the date. I think it's the last Friday of the month. I have it on recording. You can do the recording, and for you guys, it's totally free. Before we wrap the meeting, does anybody have anything that they wanted to ask for me, or if you had a question for Christa? Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Yeah, Christa, say you're a brand new agent who don't have any clients to reach out to. How would you find people to invite to this event?
Well, you have friends, you have family, you know somebody, right? So, you know, you could just, I think right now in this market is like getting a killer deal on a home would be a great topic, because everybody's wondering what's happening on the market. And then you could just say, hey, have you, you just call people, stay in touch with them, hey, and just let them know, hey, if you know anybody looking for a really good deal on a home, I am doing a free workshop coming up on that. Is there, you think you might know anybody who might be interested, who was maybe afraid to buy, but you know, they want to know how to get a really good deal on a home right now? So you just start, you know, honestly, we're in sales, we have to pick the phone up. Welcome to real estate. So we have to just talk to people, and we make friends and we serve people. So I don't know any way around talking to people.
Just family friends.
Yeah, every person you know, you just know someone in your life, like you know people at the park, neighbors. I remember when I was a new agent, and then I was working really hard doing open houses. That was how I built my business the first 3 years, was just open houses through strangers, right? So you've got that always, you can do open houses. And then I remember I had some friends who always were buying and selling homes. And I was so green, I didn't even know how that worked. Like, I didn't know that usually if you're an investor, you have an agent that if they help you find the home, you probably use them to list the home. You know, I didn't know any of that. So that's what had happened. They were gonna flip a high-end home. That's what they always did, high-end homes. So I thought, what kind of agent am I if I don't call these people and ask for an opportunity to go to the table and throw my hat in the ring and list this home for them? So I called. I was so nervous. Like, it took me 3 days to work at my courage. I finally called. I'm like, hey, just, you know, how are you? And I'm like, hey, I know you guys are getting that home ready for sale, and I was just wondering, would you guys be open to letting me have an opportunity to, you know, show you what we do and just throw our hat in the ring to possibly become your agent to list the home? I was so nervous to ask that question. And then she's like, oh, that's so nice. You know, she goes, we actually already have an agent that we've been working with for a long time, and she kind of helps us find the homes, and then she sells them for us. So that's how I learned. I didn't know. And so it's like, oh, no problem. You know, it didn't affect our friendship, of course. I mean, I was still, and I just learned that. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's kind of how that works, I guess, because I had never worked with investors. And then a couple years later, I just
was always in front of people doing my work. And then their home wasn't selling. And they called me at the end of the listing to say, hey, we wanted to just know, if you would ever come and look at this house and tell us what you think. It's not selling, and it had been on the market for 6 months. So I went, and I was still so new. I was hardly doing listing appointments by myself at that point. So I took Brent with me, and we got the listing. And if you've ever worked on Brent's team, it was my listing. He just partnered with me on it, right? And so we had it sold the first weekend on market in multiple offers, after they did some things that we recommended. But anyway, I'm now their agent of choice ever since then. So I'm just saying, you got to pick the phone up. You got to make that call. You have to talk to people. I don't know any other way around it.
Well,
I wish we could just wear a badge and then people would just flock to us. I wish.
I was thinking, whoever your preferred title company is, obviously you always see Lexi and I showing up. So we'd love to work with you. Wherever you want to hold the seminar, have one of us or whoever you work with, pull the neighborhoods around it, see who the non-owner occupied homes are. Door knock. I mean, your agents typically don't have the marketing funds, right? So you don't have to write phone numbers, mailers, anything like that. Door knock the renters and invite them.
Yeah.
And like Christa said, if you want, 25 people to show up, knock 100 homes.
And the other thing is the knocking is important, because if you just send them a flyer, they have no association with you. And I've helped so many renters become homeowners. They have no idea that, if they could rent, they could maybe afford to buy a home too. So
Okay, I want to give you one more idea on what you were asking and see if I can deliver a breakthrough to one or more of you in the room. So I spoke recently at Women's Council Realtors. It's a room just like this, filled with real estate agents, and one solar guy. That's very smart. He's the only solar guy in the room. Okay, so I'm with a group of real estate professionals, and I'm the only sales coach in the room. That's smart. So if you want to fill up an event, the best way to fill an event, aside from your own database, is you leverage networks. This is a business strategy. So why does Starbucks go to Barnes and Noble? Because Barnes and Noble has foot traffic. So they go to Barnes and Noble and say, hey, put our Starbucks over in the corner. You don't get not much people going over in the corner. So we'll turn that into a profit center for you. Well, you and I can be like Starbucks. So you're going to look for networks where there's an already existing network that's not real estate, especially other sales professionals in the community, especially if they have an email list. So I have an email list that I can email just my 916 area code people. So if you meet somebody like me that has an email list that can email just the local people, you want that to go ding, 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 ding. I need to pay attention to that, because now you could come to me and my database is I'm not a real estate agent. So you come to me and say, hey, I got this event. Any possibility you can help me get the word out to your list? So then I email my database of 1,000 people, and you can do deals like that all day long. The strategy is to leverage networks. So when you meet somebody, like when I meet Brent, I can sell to Brent, and that's great. Get Brent as my client, that's great. But what's more valuable, Brent as my client or his 30,000 people?
Right.
So when you do real estate with somebody, you help them buy or sell, you want to think beyond. It's like the Verizon commercial, right? It's the guy and then all the people behind him. This is $1 million idea for you. You want to be thinking about networks. Most people are just thinking about, well, I'm going to sell to this person. Think about the network. And then when you combine what Christa was teaching you, and you do these events, and then you invite to the events through the networks. And then you find other people that would benefit from the people in the room. In other words, the tax prep person. You go to the tax prep person, you go, hey, I'll promote you to the people that come to the seminar if you'll invite also.
Right.
So let's give Christa another big round of applause for this. Guys have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next week.